Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're really getting into something huge that's, well, it's reshaping Europe right now. We're talking about the significant and, frankly, rapid rise of right-wing political forces practically everywhere across the continent. So our mission here is to unpack the factors behind this shift, look at how what people want seems to have totally changed, and analyze how the whole political map is being redrawn. We're drawing out a pretty comprehensive research paper for this. And the numbers, I mean, they really paint a picture of this ascent. They're quite stunning. Take France. Marine Le Pen's national rally, the RN, went from just 8 parliamentary seats in 2017?
Right.
To a massive 120 by 2024. That's incredible growth.
It really is, and you see similar patterns elsewhere.
Exactly. Like in Germany, the AfD climbed from barely 5% in 2013 to projections show over 20% and 152 seats for the 2025 federal election.
A huge jump.
In Italy, Giorgia Meloni's party, Brothers of Italy, shot up from around 4% in 2018 to 26% in 2022. She became the first female prime minister there.
A major breakthrough.
Then there's the Netherlands' Geert Wilders party. Grew from 9 seats way back in 2006 to 37 in 2023, making them the largest party.
And it's not just those big countries either. We're seeing this trend in places like Austria, Slovakia, even Spain and Sweden to some extent.
Okay, so with this surge on the right, what's happening to the parties we used to think of as the mainstream, the traditional ones?
Well, that's the other side of the coin, isn't it? We're seeing this significant retreat of the liberal and social democratic parties almost across the board. Look at France's Socialist Party. They held the presidency in 2012.
Right, with Holland.
Exactly. But by 2022, their presidential candidate got just 1.7% of the vote. It's a collapse, really.
Nah.
And in Germany, the SPD, the traditional center-left, they've been losing ground among their core voters for years. Even the Renew Europe group, the sort of centrist liberals in the European Parliament, they lost seats in 2024.
So they're struggling to connect.
Yeah, it seems like it. The research suggests a big part of it is, well, ideological ambiguity. They often don't seem to have clear, distinct positions anymore.
Like they're uncertain.
Sort of uncertain, yeah. Especially on really hot-button issues, like migration or national identity or even basic security concerns. And they've often been slow, maybe too slow, to respond to things people are really worried about. Housing costs, jobs for young people.
That makes sense.
And this is leading to something quite concerning. A 2025 poll found only about half of young Europeans fully trust democratic systems.
Only half.
Yes, and maybe even more worrying. About 20% seem open to, well, alternative models, maybe even authoritarian ones. That points to a deep disillusionment.
That is stark. So let's get into the why. What's fundamentally shifting in what people expect or demand from politics? What's fueling all this?
I think we're seeing a real break from that post-war model, the traditional welfare state idea, where the government provides a comprehensive safety net. That model has been under pressure for a while, but the 2008 economic crisis and then the large migration waves in the 2010s really accelerated this shift. People's basic view of politics and the state seems to be changing.
How so? What are the key drivers?
Well, security is a big one. Eurobarometer data shows about 35% of Europeans now put terrorism and crime as top priorities.
Higher than migration.
Sometimes even higher, yes. This feeling of vulnerability, it's something the right is very effectively tapping into.
Okay. What else?
Migration and identity are, of course, central. You see it in survey data, like Pew Research found 55% of Germans feel Islam is incompatible with their culture. Similar feelings exist in France, the Netherlands. It speaks to deep anxieties.
And the economy must play a role.
Absolutely. Economic inequality is key. An OECD report highlighted this widespread feeling that real incomes aren't keeping up, housing is unaffordable.
Pushing people toward anyone promising change.
Yeah, precisely. And layered on top of all that is this growing distrust in elites. Data from Transparency International suggests around 60% of Europeans don't trust politicians to act in their interest.
60%. That's a huge trust deficit.
It is, and it creates an opening for parties positioning themselves as outsiders, fighting the establishment.
So putting this all together,
Yeah.
What does it spell for the future? Are these right-wing forces here to stay, or could this be temporary?
Well, the research raises some important questions about their long-term viability. One issue is what's called programmatic ambiguity.
You meaning?
Meaning they're often very clear on what they're against, like limiting migration, but less clear on comprehensive solutions for complex economic or social problems. They diagnose problems, but the prescriptions can be vague.
Okay, so maybe strong on rhetoric, less on detailed policy.
Sometimes, yes. And then there are institutional limits. Many of these parties are relatively new to power or haven't held it at all. They often lack experienced people to actually run government departments effectively. Governing is hard.
Right, it's different from being in opposition.
Exactly. So the big question really is, can they make that transition? Can they move from just reacting and opposing to actually developing stable long-term policies? Their success long-term likely depends on whether they can refine their approach, especially on things like national sovereignty and strategic policy, and prove they can govern competently.
So it's still an open question whether they can solidify their gains.
It seems so. If they can evolve, they might become permanent fixtures. If not, this surge might just be a phase, a reaction to specific crises.
It really feels like we're seeing this fundamental rethink across Europe about identity, what the state is for, how people feel they belong politically. And the question that leaves us with, maybe for you to think about, is this. Is what we're seeing just a political pendulum swinging back as it sometimes does? Or are we witnessing something deeper, a more permanent change in how people see politics in our, well, pretty globalized and uncertain world?